The character I was going to play in 51st Dates was different.
Oh, he was different, all right.
Like in the audition side, he was like a architect or something. And then I'd show up for the wardrobe fitting, and usually in wardrobe fittings, I know you. Usually in wardrobe fittings, they have a rack with a lot of choices that the costume designer has picked out, and you walk through and I like this, I don't like this, okay, so forth. There was just this shirt and the bumblebee stretch pants. Nothing else. No option. So I was like, oh, okay, I see where we're going with this character. The fans will be so pleased. All things being considered in Hawaii, it was quite comfortable.
I imagine so, yeah.
I want to turn my ringer off. So
yeah, no, that's right. Let's let it ring. We'll answer it if anybody calls. So this is a Q&A, which means you guys do get to ask questions, and Sean will answer, and we'll get through as many as we can in the short time we have together. We will not get through them all. That's my fault. I got to keep it moving. So if you get a question and you don't get to ask it today, again, Sean will be back at his table. You can go ask those questions there. That's where you get the photos, autographs, all that stuff. We'll take care of that business over at the... I know they know, but I'm required by law to
These
say
people are here.
Convention law compels me to
This
say
is
this.
Springfield, Missouri. Am I right?
Yes.
And it's Saturday before the Super Bowl.
Right.
And the big question, be careful. No, I've just had one gentleman came up to me in the photo line and asked if I could pick the ring. And he said, I'm proposing this. I said, well, that may be the second most known proposal. Anyhow, good luck tomorrow, everybody, for you guys who are, I generally think of Comic-Cons as the most sports-focused people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we have a little bit of a crossover crowd here.
Yeah.
We're in Chiefs season, I think. Yeah, I know. Sit down. We can't get through any questions. You guys are cheering like the Chiefs. They're not even playing today. All right. We're going to go to the questions. Before we do that, I got to ask you. You have competed in triathlons, marathons, half marathons, all that. Why do you hate yourself?
An intriguing question you asked. The weird thing is, okay, hate myself maybe a little strong, but...
Why do you punish yourself in that way?
The truth is, it's been years since I've done one, and I feel not as good. Right? And like, even though pain is an interesting thing. Everybody in here has got a mother who went through pain. You know what I mean? And like, what life came out of it. And running is the same thing. There are times when you're in pain, and if you can just sort of, there's right pain and wrong pain. If your foot is like broken, stop running.
Actually.
These are sound guidance I'm giving you here. But no, when you if your heart feels like it's going to explode out of your chest because you've just gone too far, slow down a little bit. But if you can sort of feel the pain a little bit, the next thing you know, you go into like another mode. And it's a mode of achievement, it's a mode of self confidence, and everybody knows that when runners go on a long run, you either run for runner's high or whatever, but yeah, I mean, when I finished the triathlon, you ask a triathlete about a triathlon, you're going to get a 4-hour answer. It's like, so the Ironman Kona, 15 hours and 30 minutes and 30 seconds. I know, because there's a photograph of it. But that was one of the greatest days of my life. Getting married, birth of my 3 daughters, getting cast in Lord of the Rings. There are certain big, graduating from college, but flying in an F-18. There have been certain things that were just like, oh, this is a moment of, that goes in your biography after you're gone from this world. If anybody's interested to look back, they'll be like, oh, he did a radio show for their podcast. That's interesting. He did a triathlon? Whoa, that's like, it's impressive. And I was like, I would tell everybody what I was doing. I did 12 big city marathons. And when you sort of pump it up like it's the thing that you're doing, you're kind of like burning your boats behind you. Because if you fail, if you stop, then you've created an expectation for people. They're all like, oh, hey, how'd you do? And it's a bummer to be like, oh, I didn't make it. But when you say, I'm going to do this, And that's part of like how you push through the pain too. It's like I've created an expectation for myself and with other people, and generally it works out pretty well. I'm gonna have to go back to it now, I guess.
And so one more question, and we can probably eliminate half of this line.
I doubt it.
I don't know. Because
this is only one line?
Yes, just that one line, right down the middle. Okay. So we've talked about this before. If you could only have potatoes served one way for the rest of your life, the correct answer is
flambéed. Au gratin. I don't know. We try and push back on the whole oil and mash them, stick them in the stew business. People always come up to me in line with potatoes, and I've started thinking people are a little lazy. They can mash them up. Why not give me a little garlic mash in there or something? Put a little cut up Memphis bread just so it lasts longer. I'm just putting out ideas, everybody. Just throwing them out there.
So if you got a weekend pass, be sure to come back tomorrow with a ton of potatoes.
All right, carbo loading for the...
Exactly, perfect.
Thank you. Right up front gets me. Okay.
Let's go to the questions. What is your name and what is your question?
Hi, Sean Astin. My name is Tootsie Jug. I have a question for you. I super love Encino Man, and I admire the whole movie and the way it flows. What do you consider your favorite scene in the movie? Was it when you met Link or what? Tell me.
She's neat.
I will hold nothing back. You are going to get the full and complete Encino Man Sean's favorite scene story. I'm speaking for a while I try and generate it, but I told you when we took a picture, there's something magical about you. I really, really enjoyed meeting you.
Thank you.
Yeah, she gave me a bell, a little bell. Yeah. I don't have it on me right now, but...
Be careful.
What?
Be careful.
Be careful.
Getting lost without your belt.
Oh, right, okay.
Okay, so
I thought you meant be careful, like it might hurt me, like this belt into a spiky orb and cut your head off or something, I don't know. Alright, let's go back to Encino Man. Encino Man.
Seriously?
Well, I get to kiss the girl at the end, that's not terrible. My wife hates that joke. She's like, why do you always do that joke? Because it works for Goonies and for Lord of the Rings and Yeah, so, not toy soldiers. I didn't get to kiss anybody.
No, you wouldn't want to.
No, that would have been weird.
So it's mostly the kissing.
So, yeah, kissing is good. Are we still on that? No. So, noteworthy is that Brendan Fraser won the Academy Award for Best Actor last year. Because when you saw Link of Vitch Chamovsky, you thought, that guy's going to pull down an Oscar, man. First, he's going to Georgia the Jungle, and then he's going to swing his red white into a world-class performance. And he said so. But also appearing in Encino Man, in a smaller part, Ke Huy Quan from the Goonies and Temple of Doom fame won the Best Supporting Actor Oscar last year. So there's a picture of Linkovich and Key talking to each other, and in the background are the two non-Academy Award winners, Pauly Shore and Sean Astin. So I fashioned myself a serious actor in those days. I had just played a drug addict in this really serious film called Where the Day Takes You. And when it came time to do Encino Man, I kind of looked down my nose at it a little bit. I did not realize that doing broad comedy with a heart is something that audiences will latch on to forever. I was too young to understand the vibe that.
Like 51st Dates?
Like 51st Dates, which is a deceptively heartwarming movie in as much as you have to make your loved one fall in love with you anew every single day. Like that and walrus sperm jokes. It's like, but so I was taking myself too seriously on that, and I remember we were doing the scene where the swimming pool, or the hole we dug in the backyard, and that's where Link is discovered. But the homage to Risky Business, where Guido the Killer Pimp, played by Joe Pantoliano of Fratelli and the Goonies, through that glass artwork, and Tom Cruise goes diving through the air to catch it. Well, we were doing that with what they called the Mousterian bowl, which was like a 5-pound wooden bowl. So what they did was they dug a hole in the hole in the ground, so that the camera could be on a tripod, but it would stick out of the ground like 2 feet. So then, but I would run and jump and dive over the camera. So it was, well, so I fashion myself quite the physical person, and so I would do it, run and plant my foot and dive over it and land in the pad, and it was awesome, and we did it, and it was like, okay, we got it, and I said, let me do it one more time, because it's always the one more time, it's always the one more time. And what happened was when I could, where the camera was, you could see me look at my foot to plant and then turn. And I thought it'd be really cool if I was already looking over my shoulder and planted and turned. So as you might anticipate, my foot did not land properly on the wheelbarrow, and I went straight down. And I remember Gil Combs, the coordinator, yeah. He sort of tried to catch me as I was falling into this little pit, and they had set up this wooden thing, so I hit my cheek and my eye, and it was like, uh-oh. So it was in the afternoon, we didn't ruin the whole day, but basically it was like, you need to go. My dad is like, I call my dad on the phone, I'm like, listen, I kind of got hurt on the set, it's not bad, but he was like, well, you got to check your orbit. I had never heard the word orbit relating to the eye, but apparently my dad knew all about it. So I went to Dr. whose name I can't remember, but anyhow, orbit was fine. So I come back to work the next day. You asked. So come back to work the next day, and we're going to do the scene where I land. Okay, so they put the camera on the ground, and in the foreground, on the ground, they put a piece of hard plastic to make it look like it was the ice, the iceberg or whatever, what is it called? Ice something, the ice thing. And then they covered up with dirt, so I'm gonna land, like, say you're the camera on the ground, I'm gonna land right with my face right in the foreground, right? It's kind of a very dramatic thing. And then I'm going to move the thing, and the camera kind of little tilt down, you can see it. So I really wanted it to look like I was flying in and landing. So each time we would rehearse the first few things, I'd back up farther and farther. And finally, I was like, stood up and backed up, and I was going to like run and dive and land with this 5-pound Mousterian bowl stretched out in front of me. So I ran and I dove and I landed, and the Mousterian bowl hit the plastic and bounced off and hit me in the face. And my eye went like it just swelled up. All right. So we had to stop for the day again. It's like Sean Astin does not know how not to get hurt doing this thing. And when I came back the next day, there was a crash helmet that the studio executives selected. And they wanted to, if Special would please wear the crash helmet unless he's actually filming a scene. So, it does feel like one of the most memorable experiences.
So you're telling me that 2 minutes took like 3 days of you beating yourself up. That's fantastic.
Correct. And Les Mayfield, the director, who could tell I wasn't having fun doing the movie. Like I was trying to be professional, but I just didn't. My heart wasn't in that movie. I know, but it sort of worked for that character. Isn't it right? He's the anchor between the two goofy guys. He says rationalizing. So we got lunch years later, and he said, I could tell how bummed you were. I was like, I didn't mean to be. It was like everything was good. He goes, I know. He goes, like you got hurt trying to make it good. He said that made me feel good about your participation in the film. You wanted it to be good, and so that was Thank you. Hello. So that was a 4-hour answer. We're going to get through the whole line.
What is your name?
My name is Colin.
Colin.
My question is, with 51st States, how is making a comedy like that different from some of the drama series like Lord of the Rings or Stranger Things, and how's working with comedians like Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore?
Thank you for that. There are no Balrogs, ring rays, there are no, it's harder work than you'd think. Even if it's just a normal 8 or 9 or 10 hour day, not a long day. Some people actually work, in foundries, and it's hard. They do, physical work. But you do, when you have to kind of be chill for a long time, and then get ready and kind of like be funny. It's a little, it requires like a little professional skill to be able to do that. And with someone like Adam who did his, his Saturday Night Live is where he, made his whole relationship with the American public and he really refined his comedic style and all that. He would look at those, at a shot. Usually when you're making a movie, it's like, okay, we're going to get a 2-shot, we'll pop in for a close-up, we're going to step back and get kind of a master shot, whatever. There's, this is going to be an interesting tracking shot that comes into a close-up, whatever. When Adam would do a shot, the camera would be set, and then it was like Saturday Night Live. Like, you're going to go in and do this shot, and this, good luck. The idea of saying good luck before each shot was terrifying. We're in it. We're gonna, and so that was interesting learning his kind of rhythm. But yeah, I mean, I got to do 20 episodes of a sitcom called No Good Nick for Nickelodeon, which I just love doing. I'm on the Connors right now. I got to do an episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine and a few episodes of Big Bang Theory, and those multicam in front of an audience, actually what do you call Brooklyn Nine-Nine was single cam, but the television rhythm of, especially if there's an audience, is so fluid. It's simple. Your day, Monday, you go in and you do a table read and that's it. Your Monday is like 2 hours worth of work. Your Tuesday is like, the week lays out, you have to know, they want it like letter perfect, the words. So in terms of memorization, that's the real trick. So all afternoon, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you're like learning the dialogue, but there's just something about the work is building towards when everyone's gonna do it. So if you think of like a baseball game or sports or something, there's the time before the show, before the game starts, where people are in the locker room and they're kind of getting ready, and everyone knows that you're gonna be kind of peaking at a certain moment. And then you do the show, and everyone's like pumped for that. Movies and television are not usually like that, but that comedy rhythm I dig a lot.
Thank you.
Good question. Thank you. Hello to all the Lord of the Rings people up front. I don't know if you know that.
Well, as soon as I said, you guys can sit up here, they like.
Go ahead. What's your name?
Hello, my name is Shane. Love Goonies. Huge Lord of the Rings fan. Sam is the true hero.
Oh, Missouri. You're so bad. Thank goodness Mr. Frodo isn't here.
We've got some fun.
But let's get serious and talk about a cartoon.
Yes.
I want to thank you for an amazing job as Raphael. You were incredible. It seems like kind of a different character for you. Very angry and aggressive. Just wondering, do we have any more Sean Astin angry characters? Maybe even a villain. Is that coming? Maybe?
Well, somebody came up to me in the line and asked me why Raphael was so angry. And I didn't have a good answer. I mean, I'm like, the first thing I thought was, well, they kind of represent the dwarves. They all represent some part of ourselves.
Yes.
But that's not a good enough answer. Like, what in Raph's backstory, sort of got him going? Or are we all kind of dyspeptic or happy? Is that a DNA thing? I don't know. But I loved doing that character, and I wish it would have gone for another 10 seasons. It really was something special to do, particularly with Rob Paulson, who was the OG Raphael, and Greg Sipes, and just the whole gang. It was awesome. So, yeah, I do. It's funny. I am a journeyman actor. I really think, there were moments in my career where that might not have been true. You're sort of a star, or you're a leading man type character, something like that. But the way I've always chosen people, have you turned down anything that ever went on to be great? I'm like, no. Something's gonna be great, you can tell right up front, So I go where the work is, and a lot of times it's low budget independent films, I'll do one in Florida, I'll go down to Mexico and do one, wherever. I want to work if they've got a little bit of money in the budget and there's something interesting to do, or depending on how I meet the person. And so I've done truly vicious, horrible, psychopathic killers. But that's not what people know me for. That's not what they know me for. So I have no qualms about playing that. And in fact, there was a period of time where filmmakers were like, oh, we should get Sean to be like the bad guy because no one would be expecting that. In fact, in Stranger Things, people were like, I was sure you were a bad guy. Like, nobody's that nice and makes Joyce like happy. I don't understand. So, and after I died, like a couple months later, I called the Duffers and I was like, so listen, what if Bob was actually the mind slayer? Yeah. I was like, what if Bob was just a manifestation of evil, but he was using Bob to spy on Joyce? They went, no. I'm like, but there's this guy in Missouri who really wants it. Whatever. Yeah, I mean, as an actor, you want to stretch. You want to do lots of different things. But at the moment, at this particular moment in my life, where I'm doing a lot of union work with the SAG-AFTRA labor union, doing well, thank you all. I'll pass that along to my peeps. Actually, Michelle Hurd, who's here, she and I are on the national board together, and we were in the negotiating committee, and we're kind of oversaw the strike last year, and so that was, she's an amazing mind, as well as a beauty and a talent, and like, fired up. And when I'm fired up, she's like right there for me. I love Michelle. And now we're going to be on another committee together. Anyhow, so there's that, and then there's like my grad school. I'm racing towards completion of my master's in public administration and public policy. They just get me. I know a lot about Missouri. I'm just going to say right up front. I don't know if you knew that about me. Hannibal, Missouri. Anybody been to Hannibal? Moving on.
That was the extent of it.
St. Louis, I spent a good time in St. Louis. I was here to give a speech at, I think it was at a university at one point, not too far from Springfield. I came in on Route 66.
Yes.
I thought, I know there's 400 hubcap shacks, but I'm going to start 401. I think I'm just going to, do you know what I'm talking about? Like that road there where it's like, is there another auto shop? Is it another auto shop? Like, I know it's Route 66, but there's a lot of auto shops. I'm like, the person who does the auto shop just a little bit closer to town's like, I got these beat because the people are coming from out of town. So, but what I really am enjoying and want to do is comedy stuff. I just like, and the thing about the Connors, which I'm on right now, is, and I'm waiting to see if it gets true for my character, which I think it probably will. It gets kind of real for a minute. You know, they dealt with abuse, they dealt with drug stuff, they dealt with, divorce, and they've dealt with a lot of, and it's funny, you know, it's a half-hour sitcom, it's all funny, but every now and then they hit like a serious note. So right now I'm just enjoying the comedy, and I'm looking forward to when, like, you know, if I get a serious hit there. But anyhow, if you just want to take up being an agent and represent me, you can send you out there and look for stuff.
All right, let's do this.
I need to answer faster. These people are not gonna. I hate the moment when
We
you're
only
like,
wanted to get through 4 today.
I'm just looking back there. There's probably 40 people. So let's go. I'm gonna do a little bit faster.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lightning round.
Yeah. Or else all these people will have been waiting for nothing.
So if you're not in line, don't get a line.
Nobody else get a
Stay
line. It's the line's too long.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Lightning round. Here you go.
Yeah.
What's your question? What's your name?
My name's Bailey.
Hi, baby.
Question, Bailey.
No. Next. No. Yes.
So my question is, what's your go-to favorite movie, favorite TV show that you've seen like 100 times? What's your go-to?
So, I'm a 52-year-old Caucasian American, and
So The Wire.
at the beginning of COVID, I was going to learn the guitar. After 1,000 hours, that's not going so great. But I watch a lot of World War II documentaries. easier to go to sleep with the timer on and something about, the Battle of Stalin raging. There's something, I'm a history major, but there's something, I thought about this. I think the reason is we know how that world ends. That world war ends. So right now we're in a time where we're like, ooh, anything can happen. We've got, conflict all over the place, or pandemic, or whatever. Like, the news and the kind of ambient sensation that we have a lot of time is like, it could be really bad. Well, that was like as horrible a time as you can possibly imagine, but it had kind of an ending that was okay. I think that might be what's going on psychologically. But we also watch a lot of comedies. New Girl. My daughter has this binge watching NCIS right now, but I just watched Suits. We watched Suits. Oh, Suits was amazing. What else? There was a moment on Netflix where there was all these like spy kind of individuals, like the Diplomat and like the Recruit and all those. I watch everything, okay? I don't know why you're picking on me right now. You name a genre, and I have 3 daughters, so that anything that's with a cake in reality, or dresses, or, I want give me a princess, I'll tell you who the princess is. Moana, Ariel. No, I didn't mean yell out the name. I meant show me someone dressed and I can identify that princess for you. Work with me, Missouri. Okay, anyhow. Yeah.
Thank you, Bailey.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That was too long.
So my name is Elizabeth, and I have been a fan of yours since 1986 when we recorded off of TV the Brat Patrol Sunday night Disney movie.
Deep cut.
I was saying, I was there. I was old enough to watch it and
Yeah.
watched it many, 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 many times. So I followed your career and things ever since. And my question is, what are some things that you have done to kind of stay down to earth? A lot of
Married with 3 daughters. Of the 5 people in our house, the least coolest is standing in front of you.
I can understand that as a parent.
Also, the way my parents raised me, they were very famous. My mom was Patty Duke. My dad is John Astin. So wonderful performers, beloved around the country. But by the time I came along, we weren't like a Hollywood people. Like one night a year, they would do like a New Year's party, and then all of a sudden you'd see all these famous people, and you're like, oh, we're like a famous family. But then the rest of the time, it was Little League and fighting and whatever. So there's just no tolerance for not being like real and understanding. And my father gave me like 2 really important pieces of wisdom. When I was a little kid, I was like Rudy. I was a little kid. I was always getting picked on and beaten up and stuff. And I would ask him, like, why is this happening or whatever. And his 2 pieces of wisdom for me. One was put yourself in the other guy's shoes. Hey, why don't you try putting yourself in the other guy's shoes? Which is advice that could stop war. So, and then the other one was 2 wrongs don't make a right. And and I listened to him, I really believed what he said. So if you live a life like that, then you kind of, and he said one more thing. He said all human interactions are sacred. Yeah. I was lucky, right, with that dad? Knucklehead Gomez standing on his head, bowling trains. Thank you for that. All right. Oh my God. Hi, what's your name, bud? You better ask them to book this room a little longer and push back the next signing, because I'm not leaving with all these people. All right, hey, go ahead.
I'm Logan.
Hi, Logan.
When you were on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, what was it like meeting all those people, and how did you react when you found out, or heard
Andre Brower died, yeah. Just cried, I just cried. So unexpected. I mean, he made some sort of issue that he just wasn't like talking about publicly, but to me that one was just like, that was like a car crasher, like something you're not expecting. I mean, he's just such a beautiful, he was really funny. Logan's asking about Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So Brooklyn Nine-Nine was on NBC, and then it was canceled. And me and Mark Hamill and 5 or 6 other people were instantly on Twitter calling foul. Like, there is no way that this show has developed such an incredible audience, and they've carried us along with these characters. They deserve a final season, to know that it's going to be their final season. It's outrageous that they would do that. It kind of got caught in that, like on streaming systems now, they'll do like 3 or 4 seasons and that's it. And you're like, oh, and you just kind of have to live with it. But then the next day, so we did this big outpouring, and there was millions of retweets and that kind of stuff. And then the next day Fox picked it up. So we were sort of like, we got the show picked up. But it would have gotten picked up either way. But we were kind of like the good luck charms for the show, and that's why they put me on for an episode. And I remember, Andre was so, he had such a heavy expression and a deep voice and everything. It's why as the captain, when he would be affectionate or do something funny, it was hilarious because it's coming out of this guy. So I'm at his desk and working on this stuff, and he's leaning over me, and because he's supposed to be looking at the computer. And they're moving the camera around and something happens. And the next thing I know, in my ear, I just feel. And to me, it was, I knew I was accepted. We were like forever friends. Like it was, because when I walked into that set, I was a fan, a proper fan of that show. Like if you got to walk on a Millennium Falcon or something, you got to go into Hogwarts or something, you're like, oh my God, this is real. And it wasn't just the bullpen, it was all the people. And they were all like so happy to meet me, and I was so happy to meet them. And I was like, are we really going to do a show now? Like we did. Anyhow, it was pretty great. Thanks for that question, Logan. Good question. Hi.
I'm actually aspiring to become an actor after I graduate.
All right, stop, Nicholas. Have you been in anything? Like in school?
Plays, yeah.
You're not an aspiring anything. You're already an actor. Call yourself an actor. Go ahead.
I was just wondering if you might have any advice on someone who's trying to break into the acting industry.
Yeah, I mean, work hard. That's the key to success in life. You gotta work hard. The best compliment I ever got in my life when Lord of the Rings came out, and it was like all of a sudden we were on every talk show and every magazine and all the award shows, and it was like, oh my gosh, the first one made $1 billion, the second one made $1 billion. So it was like, incredible. And my mom was watching me at one point. We were talking, and she just goes, Sean, you've worked so hard for this. And I didn't really think of it like that. I didn't think of it like I'm working for something that's out there, or working for a result, to be in a show that was world successful and everything like that. I was just doing my work and just working hard. And if there was an audition, I wanted to get the audition right. If I was talking to an agent or interacting with an agent, I wanted to treat it with seriousness. If I was doing a play, I wanted the play to be right. That's what I was saying when I was doing that. When I was doing Encino Man, it was kind of like I hadn't learned that you can have fun. You could be like a Jim Carrey person. You could just have whimsy and laugh and whatever. I don't know who you are, what's in your soul, but I completely co-sign on this idea that I think the word aspiring is not a good word. It's a bad word. It's meant to be apologetic for not having achieved what somebody else's expectation of what you might have done. So anytime you're doing anything, people will, when you're dating, someone's like, oh, are you guys going steady? And then you're like, going steady, that's my boyfriend. Oh, are you guys going to get engaged? And then you get engaged. Like, oh, you're going to get married, and you get married. And then, oh, you're going to have a kid. It's like, you know what, let me live my life. So when an acting career is something that it's a little more acceptable nowadays, but it's something that most people can't work with in their mind. So you feel like you're being judged, and it's not really you that's being judged. If it is, then they're just jerks. But mostly it's, people think, well, how are you going to make a living? And what if I know, as a union person, I've now interacted with thousands of actors, and most of them are hustling and fighting. They've got their side hustle. They're trying, but they're determined. their sense of their own commitment, and they almost don't need a lot of money. They want us to work. They want to work as an actor. They want to feel, they want to perform. They want to mine their creative life. And they want to be part of production, and part of a show, or part of a film or a television show. And when you get a movie or a TV show, then money's important all of a sudden. But for you, you have to like know who you are and what you want. And then whatever work means to you, whatever research, whatever, the more serious you take everything you do, the greater the chances you'll be in a position to capitalize on an opportunity when it presents itself.
Hey buddy, you get to be our last question. You got a good one? No pressure at all. You do? All right, what's your name?
My name is Cyrus.
Okay, Cyrus, what's your question?
First of all, I think you were robbed of the Best Actor award for Return of the King and Lord of the Rings. You didn't
I didn't want Pauly Shore to feel too bad in that picture. They would be 3 against 1. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you very much. You weren't even born yet. Well, I appreciate the sentiment. Thank you for that.
Who was your favorite actor to work with in the entire Lord of the Rings
I'm just going to tell you right now, whatever the answer is, an hour from now, it's going to be on the internet.
Live streamed.
Yeah.
I'm sure Elijah is somewhere in the world and his phone just did a thing and he's waiting to see how I answer.
Let's go with an easier one. Which is your favorite daughter?
I got to. All 3 of them would tell you the middle one is my favorite. I'm like, that's not fair. I love them in different ways. This one I love to yell at. That one I'm always asking where she's going. And this one we just play. No. So, just kidding. So, not a good joke. Not a good joke. I tell each one of them, you know, you're my favorite. Don't tell your sisters. I don't really do that. So I mean, I got to kiss Rosie Cotton, so that is consistent with what I said earlier. I would have to say it was Elijah because we spent, you know, almost 2 years, like, physically in each other's arms. Someone was kind enough to give me some fan fiction that they wrote today. They woke up entwined in each other's arms, the sun beaming on their face. I feel like I could add to it. I know what to do. Someone today, they asked me to sign an autograph, and they said, can you please write on this picture of you lifting Frodo that you think Sam and Frodo kissed? I wrote to Donna, or whoever, Sam and Frodo kissed, period. And then I signed it. Let's not equivocate. Let's not, you know. I wanted her to be happy, and she was so happy. I lost all the red states, but that's okay. Someone else came up to me and said, thank you for all you do for the LGBTQI plus community. It has to be Elijah. Guys, I hate that there's all these people been standing up here for an hour.
I got to be that guy, though, unfortunately. However, the questions you did not get to ask here in this forum, please stop by and see Sean at his table. He'll be here today, tomorrow. Get the autographs, do all that stuff there. Have you guys had a good time this past hour?
Hey, everybody, thank you so much. Thank you for coming and making me feel so welcome.